Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, welcome everyone to the Pathways to Perfection series. This is the limb of Bhakti called as Vandanam. I do understand we would have devotees coming from different parts of the world, from different backgrounds. Some of us would be practicing devotees, and some of us would have just entered the school of Bhakti. Some of us would be seasoned over decades of practice. Some of us would have a background where we can understand a bit of Sanskrit words. And some of us would have a background where the shlokas are too overwhelming and bewildering. So we have tried our bit in today's presentation in such a way that we all from different parts of the world, from different ranks on the ladder of Bhakti, can try to relate to this presentation. Something informative, yet something when applied could be transformative. Something descriptive, yet something prescriptive. Something that is theoretical for the head, yet at the same time practical to the heart. So I would request all of you, in a prayerful mood, I would request all of you to kindly offer your blessings and the best wishes of your heart. May the right words come at the right time, in the right prayerful spirit of glorification of the process of prayers, and may this endeavor purify our consciousness. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha pattitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So as we know, the word for prayer in Sanskrit is Vandanam. And the word for material entanglement or being bound in this world is called Bandhanam. The word Bandhan means to be completely bound up. So I thought this was quite poetic, that if we really want freedom from Bandhanam, we have to take to the process of Vandanam. The shelter is at the lotus feet of Krishna when it is sought in a prayerful mood. Before we dive straight into today's discussion, we want to see the context. We want to see the context of Vandanam in the overall discussion of this whole series. We want to see, first of all, the importance of this series. So with a grateful heart, I want to offer my obeisances to the organizers for giving such a beautiful platform where Bhakti can be discussed in such a systematic, holistic manner. We see here the attraction principle in this world, whether it's the deer which get attracted by the ear, they get attracted to the flute sound of the hunter, or to the base we can see the cows there. I remember when I went to Govardhan Eco Village in Mumbai, I went with some grass in my hand, and I wanted to show it to the cows. But none of the cows were interested. They really were not interested. So I looked to the brahmachari and said, I thought the cows would eat grass, and I'm trying to push this grass into their mouth, but they're not interested. So he said, oh, familiarity always breeds contempt. They get grass every day. I'll give you a trick. And then he gave me a little jaggery. He gave me something very sweet. And I held jaggery in my hand and took it close to the mouth of a cow. And then, interestingly, all the cows in that cowshed were so attracted, they were literally pushing each other to get that piece of jaggery from my hand. So I was really fascinated to see that as much as the ear of the deer get attracted to the flute sound in this world, so much does the tongue of the cow get attracted to something very tasty. Not just the cows, we see even ants getting attracted to something very sweet. Not that we really have to drop something sweet on the floor, but Srila Prabhupada writes in a purport that even if there's something very sweet left off on the 20th floor of a certain tower, the ants find their way to get there. So that's the attraction principle in this world. The tongue, can drag animals even up to the level of death. Think about the rats. The rats could be completely happy eating something natural in the field, but the desire to taste something sweet and something different. And that's the reason the rats get into different domestic territories, and then they get trapped in the rat trap. Also, we see the example of the fish. The fish could live all its life comfortably, peacefully, safe underwater, but it gets tempted by the bait of the fisherman. Something very sweet, something very tasty, and it's even ready to lose its life. So whether it's the attraction through the tongue, or attraction to the ear, or whether it's attraction through the eye, look at the glowworm right there. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was once explaining something very beautiful in his class. He said that in Mayapur, Maharaj was sitting with his god brother under a tree. It was a dark night, and they were sitting under a tree and talking. And Maharaj mentioned at that time that suddenly his god brother pointed to the glowworms in the tree and said, "Look, Maharaj, they're so beautiful. It's almost like Christmas." They've lit up the whole tree by their body, and they're so beautiful. And Srila Radhanath Maharaj asked the god brother that, why do you think they are lit up? Why do you think the glowworms, glow like this in night, under the night sky? So the god brother said, actually, they can't do it during the day because the sun overpowers their potency. But at nighttime is the only time when the male can attract the female and gain some attention by glowing through his body. And he has to exert so much pressure and so much energy just to have that little flickering glow. And then the light dampens with time. It gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and the male has to exert more pressure and more energy just to attract the female by the eye. The more the male glows, the more female gets attracted in the glowworm species. And Maharaj, during the class, he was mentioning that, look, just for some flickering pleasure, the glowworm is ready to even lose its life by exerting pressure. So anyway, the fundamental point is the concept or the principle of attraction is found in all species, whether it's through the eye as the glowworm, whether it's through the ear as the deer, whether it's through the tongue as the rat or the fish or the cow or the ant that we spoke about. And then what to speak of the nose? Think about all the whole perfume scent industry, where we are all interested about, look, having that fragrance and that aroma, and some of us just want to hide the stink of the body also, just overpowered by the fragrance. So this is the attractive principle. But interestingly, the point to note is this attraction is not something that comes naturally to us, in the sense that it's not that we are attractive. We look for something outside of us which we want to hold to make ourselves attractive. Look at the Mataji. Maybe she's beautiful, but generally the conception or the context of the thought process here is that when I put on the ornaments, then I look more beautiful than I was before. Yeah, especially for the female. Then you see the ring there. The ring may be beautiful, but without the diamond, it may not be that beautiful. So we're all attracted to something or someone or somehow in different circumstances, but we need a reason, we need a cause for that attraction, whether it's the ornaments on the person which makes the person more beautiful, or whether it's the diamond in that ring which makes it more beautiful, or whether it's just the sunrise which makes the gopuram on the top of the temple beautiful in the third picture. Maybe at night the gopuram is still beautiful, but it's not appreciated so much as the rising of the sun. So we can see that we are all attracted to something, someone, or somehow in different circumstances, but there's a reason why we're attracted. And when that reason is lost, our attraction principle shifts. Where is the root of all this attraction? Is an interesting question to ask. The Chaitanya Charitamrita describes the root of all attraction is Sri Krishna. There's a very beautiful definition to the word Krishna in Sanskrit. If you see the breakup of the word Krishna, it's actually the combination of two words. Krishi bhuvachako shabdho nascha nivrittivachakah Tayor aikyam parabrahma Krishna ityabhidhiyate. This verse actually comes in the Mahabharata, which is quoted by Jiva Goswami also, which is quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very popular verse, something that we can put an asterisk to. It's a must-learn verse because we're all trying to be Krishna conscious. But if someone asks us, what does the word Krishna mean? Of course, we have the answer as all attractive. But in the root of all etymological breakup in the Sanskrit language, from the linguistic perspective, the word Krish means all attraction. The word Krish means attraction. Krishi bhuvachako shabda. The person who is the root cause of all creation, who is so attractive that everything ultimately moves only towards the creator, that is Sri Krishna. And what does the word na mean? Nascha nivriti vachaka. The syllable na means sweetness. The word krish means greatness. The word na means sweetness. And when they come together, they become the all attractive. How beautiful is that? So sometimes some of us may be sweet in our dealings, but we may not be the greatest. Or let's say we may not be great in prowess. And some of us may be great in our prowess and ability and influence, but our dealings may not be sweet. But Krishna at the same time is the abode of greatness and the abode of sweetness. And therefore, when he comes together, he is the root of all attraction. Krishna, in the Nectar of Devotion, it is described by Rupa Goswami that Krishna attracts everyone through 4 principles, primarily, over even Vishnu. You can remember the 4 F's. He attracts everyone through his form, F for form. He attracts everyone through his flute, F for flute. F for frolics. He attracts everyone through his pastimes or his frolicking activities. And then F for friends. He attracts everyone through his loving associates. So Rupa Madhuri is the form. Venu Madhuri is the flute. Leela Madhuri is the frolicking nature of Krishna. And the Prema Madhuri are the fun-loving friends and the associates that Krishna has. This is so attractive. Krishna is so attractive that it is described that even Vishnu gets attracted to Krishna. Even Vishnu gets attracted to Krishna. And you can read the 10th canto for that. How beautifully there's a story of how a certain personality kept on losing his children one after the other. And then when he came to Krishna and he said, why my children are dying immediately? Is it because I'm sinful? What is the reason? I'm the father and I'm losing one child after the other. And it's a long story, but the culmination of the story is such that they try to find out if all the children are with Yamaraj, the god of death. And Yamaraj puts his hand up and says, no, they're not with me. And they point towards Indra. Maybe Indra knows, maybe Brahma knows, maybe Shiva knows, maybe Vishnu knows. And ultimately, when all of this happens, it's described that Krishna, along with Arjuna and the Brahmana, they go searching from one place to another, and finally they reach Vaikuntha, the abode of Vishnu. And there, when they get to know the actual reason, they all smile. Krishna smiles in shyness, while Arjuna and the Brahmana, they smile in excitement. Vishnu smiles in jubilation. He's happy. The reason is, Vishnu mentions that I have kept all the children here in my abode because I wanted to come and take darshan of Krishna. But I couldn't have left my abode to come and see the beautiful form of Krishna. So I had to do something by which Krishna would come and give me his darshan. I've heard so much about his beautiful form, but this is the time I'm taking darshan. So on one level, we could say Vishnu and Krishna are completely non-different. But Vishnu, in his 4-handed feature, gets attracted to Krishna in his 2-handed feature. And similarly, you can find in the pages of the Bhagavatam how Krishna himself gets attracted to his own reflection. Now that might sound really someone very proud and egotistic, but that's just reality. Krishna is so beautiful, he doesn't realize the reflection is actually the reflection of his own form. Krishna looks into the waters of the Yamuna, and he sometimes in innocence, he asks the waters of the Yamuna, who is this beautiful person whose face you are attracted to? So Krishna gets attracted to himself. Lakshmi Devi gets attracted to Krishna. Vishnu gets attracted to Krishna. Those are the examples for the form. And similarly, you can see Krishna, when he starts playing the flute, how the cows forget to chew and swallow. and the calves forget to suck the udder of their mother and drink the milk. Everyone forgets their identity, and they're all completely attracted through the ear, through the eyes, through the nose, through the lips, and through the sense of touch towards Sri Krishna. So therefore, I sometimes say when Krishna plays the flute, what happens? The ears of the cows are full, and the hearts of the cows are overfull. The hearts overflow and overflood in joy. So in this way, Krishna is the root of all attraction. He is very attractive through his form and through the flute playing, through his friends, and what was it? And through his pastimes. Yeah, these are the 4 F's that Krishna is, that makes Krishna even more attractive than the Vishnu Murtis. But why are we mentioning all this? Why are we talking about the all-attractive nature of Krishna? It is because in this world we see, when someone is a multi-millionaire, let's say, can we win their heart with $1? Can we just go to them and give them a $1 bill and say, take this from me? The multi-millionaire or the multi-billionaire would say, I'm sitting on the mountain of cash, and you can buy me with that $1 bill. And same, you can see the example of the bulb, the electric bulb. Imagine there's someone who has a complete electric bulb industry. If you go to him with an electric bulb and say, look, I have an electric bulb for you, he would say, well, I have the whole industry. I have a multi-billion dollar industry. And you're trying to purchase me on the power of one electric bulb, or let's say one tube light? That's the nature of this world. Someone who has $1 billion can be purchased and impressed with $1. Someone, let's say with an electric bulb company, can be impressed with one electric bulb. But look at Krishna. He is the root of all attraction. He is the multi-million, multi-billion, quadrillion emperor. He's the emperor of the whole creation. But you just take one little flower from his own creation and give it to him, and he comes riding on his Garuda to help and reciprocate with Gajendra. When he offered that king of elephants, just offered one flower, Krishna could say, well, wait a minute. You're trying to win my heart with one flower, that which belongs to my own creation. It's not like you created a flower of your own. You just take one of the flowers, and look how many flowers are there in that one pond. How many lotus flowers are there in that picture? And Krishna is Namo Pankaja Nabhaya, Namo Pankaja Maline, Namo Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. His face is a lotus face. His eyes are lotus petal-like eyes. His hands are lotus palms. His feet are lotus feet. His navel is lotus navel. From where there is a lotus that comes, on which Brahma appears. And garlands that he wears are all bedecked with lotus flowers. And still, when there's one lotus offered by one elephant, he leaves Vaikuntha to come to that elephant. Look at that Mataji in Vrindavan. She comes with fruits. And Krishna, he who is offering the fruits of all of our activities to us, we get the fruits of our activities by Krishna. And Krishna is attracted by that little fruit vendor who comes and offers a couple of fruits to Krishna. Look at Advaita Acharya there in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Just offers a few tulsi leaves. And the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes down on the power of few tulsi leaves. Dear devotees, the point I'm trying to make is, although Krishna is all attractive, he gets attracted by devotion. So this Pathways to Perfection series is chalked so wonderfully that it actually gives us the platform to understand that yes, he's certainly the all-attractive Lord, but I can attract the all-attractive by giving him something that belongs to his own creation. But Krishna is not hungry to take something that we give if it's bereft of devotion. Krishna is not seeing what we give. Krishna is seeing how we give what we give. Therefore, on the slide, we can see the power of devotion is such that Krishna is hungry, not just for what we give. It's not about giving him a salad or soup or fruits or just a leaf or flower or water. Krishna is seeing how we give what we give. It's possible that I could donate $1 million and still not win Krishna's attention. On the other hand, I could just give a leaf with tears, crying out in a prayerful mood, and Krishna will pick that leaf. So Krishna is not interested in what we give. Krishna is interested in what we give, but most importantly, how we give what we give. Just like when we write a letter. Of course, now we write emails, but think about writing a letter. When you write a letter to someone, the envelope is certainly important. But what's more important is what's in the envelope. That's the letter. So you need three things. You need the right destination address, you need an envelope, and you need the content of the letter. So what's the destination address? Sri Krishna. What's the envelope? What we give, the words that we offer, the activities that we perform. And what's the letter? The contents, the prayerful heart, the devotional spirit behind what we give. So this is what brings us to our topic. Srila Prabhupada mentions in Madhya Chaitanya Charitamrita chapter 4, Krishna listens to our talks when they are sincere and prayerful. And the example Prabhupada gives is that of Lord Brahma. Prabhupada mentions, think about how Brahma created the whole creation. When Brahma appeared on the lotus flower from the navel of Vishnu, it was pitch dark. The whole creation was bereft of any light. Brahma was all by himself, lonely, but he didn't get depressed and morose. He tried to find out what's happening, who's around, and how can I connect with someone, and what's the purpose of my life. Brahma tried on his own, but didn't succeed. Prabhupada explains Brahma got off the lotus flower on which he appeared and went down up to the stem of that lotus, the root of the stem of that lotus. And he came up to the navel of the Lord, but he still couldn't find anything. And then what happened? He climbed up the stem of the lotus and sat on top of the lotus from where he appeared. And Prabhupada explains, Brahma heard two syllables, ta and pa, twice, tapa, which means austerity, which means offer prayers, which means get into meditation, which means get into contemplative samadhi. And Prabhupada explains that Brahma closed his eyes and he meditated. He offered prayers. And on the power of one pointed contemplative, helpless meditation in a desperate mood, Brahma was tene brahmaridaya adi kavaye muhyanti yat surayah. He was injected, he was empowered with this spirit by which he could blast out a transcendental material creation out of nothing, just on the power of his prayer. So Prabhupada explains that one sincere jiva who's lost in the darkness of indecisiveness, if he offers prayers to Krishna, Krishna empowers him to have a beautiful creation amidst that darkness. Prabhupada is a classic example. Prabhupada, in his old age, as His Holiness Satsvarup Das Goswami Maharaj says, it was a lifetime in preparation to fulfill that one instruction of his Guru Maharaj. And Prabhupada, like Brahmaji, felt darkness. He was feeling in my household life with children and wife and a business, being in India, how am I going to succeed? How am I going to fulfill the instruction of my Guru Maharaj? And like Brahmaji, Prabhupada offered the prayer on the Jaladuta. And we see how beautifully everything, rest is history. Prabhupada blasted out an inconceivable impossibility. Just like Brahma, he made a beautiful, wonderful creation, but Brahma made a material creation. And Prabhupada created the spiritual world in that material creation on the power of his prayer. How wonderful is that? So dear devotees, this is something that is very, very fundamental to all of us. Even if we are atheistic, we say, oh my God, where does that come from? Because it's just natural for us to offer prayers. Now, in the 9 limbs of Bhakti, we see, again, as Dayal Gauranga Prabhu was introducing and mentioning about Prahlad Maharaj's verse, he mentioned that the 9 different limbs are to hear about Krishna. But what happens when we are hearing? Sometimes we doze off. We go off to sleep. Kirtanam. We are interested in Kirtan, but in Japa we again doze off. What about Vishnu Smaranam? Out of 24 hours, how many hours are we actually thinking about Krishna? Hardly a few seconds every day. We have to be honest. And Pada Sevanam. Pada Sevanam, His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu beautifully explained about Pada Sevanam. We see that also is not something that we're all constantly performing. Same with Archanam, deity worship. We may also give excuses that, well, I'm living a corporate life. It's difficult for me to have elaborate deity worship and worship the deities nicely. And then what to speak of Sakhyam and Dasyam and Atmanivedanam. But we see Vandanam is something that we all connect to, because wherever we are, however we are, whichever part of the world we are, when life kicks us hard with reversals, we have no way out. Even doctors, sometimes they put their hand up and say, only God can help now. You offer your prayers. On the power of your prayers, things can change. So therefore, there's a saying that life is fragile, handle with prayer. Just like we talk about parcels, it's fragile, handle with care. So life is fragile, handle with prayer. What's the definition of prayer? We talk about Vandanam. What is the definition of Vandanam? We find here, this is coming from the Sri Gaudiya Giti, from the Gaudiya Kantahar, which again takes it from another beautiful book. So the definition of Vandanam has been given very wonderfully here. Tat pada padma pravanaihi kaya mana subhashitaihi pranamo vasudevasya vandanam kathyate budhaihi. Vandanam, or prayer, kathyate budhaihi. The great intelligent saints, they opine that Vandanam is defined as follows. Tat pada padma pravanaihi. Pada padma means lotus feet. Tat pada padma, Krishna's lotus feet, or the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Pravanaihi, when we are deeply attached to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. How? Kaya, mana, and sabhashitaihi. Kaya means through body, mana through mind, and bhasha means through words. So through body, mind, and words. Very interesting, very easy. BMW. Through body, mind, and words. When we are attached to the Supreme Lord through body, mind, and words, in a certain circumstance, it could be temporary, but in a certain circumstance. And in that mood, pranamo vasudevasya, when we bow down to him through body, and in a helpless way, pranama means to offer obeisances, but it also means when we submit ourselves and surrender ourselves to him in a helpless manner, that is called Vandanam. So dear devotees, it's not just said here that prayers mean something that erupts like fountain of flowery words from our mouth. Well, that's one part of it. But what's the complete understanding of prayer? Point number one, there must be attachment to Krishna in a helpless manner. Like Draupadi, like Gajendra. When they called out to Krishna, they were helpless, they were attached, they were absorbed, they were attentive. And all three of them, the body, mind, and words were in line, expressing that inner thought. And not just that, pranamo, they were still depending on the Supreme Lord. My Lord, you are still free. You can protect me if you want. You may not offer me your protection and let me go through this reversal. But my Lord, I am helplessly, in a desperate way, expressing through words my inner explosion, my inner explosive feeling of helplessness, desperation, like a child, complete dependence of surrender. This is what I want to express through my expression of words, my Lord. So tat pada padma pravanaihi. First of all, there must be attachment to Krishna in a certain circumstance, in a certain emotion. It could be out of fear, in danger. It could be out of gratitude. It could be out of tears of gratitude that, my Lord, you're doing so much for me. Look, I'm not even reciprocating. So that's also an attachment, temporary, but we feel emotional attachment. And then we express it through words, through emotions in the heart, and through body by offering obeisances. All of them put together, Vandanam kathyate budhaihi. This is the definition of Vandanam that we can all remember. In the outside world also, you see so many beautiful, wonderful quotes. There is power in prayer. When men work, they work. But when men pray, God works. This is very, very interesting. So many beautiful quotes of Srila Prabhupada also. When there is some earthquake or there is some danger, naturally, spontaneously we pray, but we forget it. The tendency of offering prayer to the Lord at the time of danger is automatic. So we should know that we are in danger. That's in this world. We are in this material condition of life, means we are in danger. Therefore, we should pray. No conscious prayers go in vain. They're transmitted positively. Any prayer you offer to your spiritual master and spiritual master is conveyed to Krishna, no sincere prayers go in vain. Remembrance and prayers also can give us the desired result if they are properly done under expert guidance. You see here, Prabhupada is making this point that we are in a precarious state in this world, and therefore we should never forget that. Whether it's, every morning as we chant, we sing, Samsara dava nalalidhaloka tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam. Samsara davanala. What does the word davanala mean? Davanala means a forest fire. So what is a forest fire? There is forest fire all over the place. There is forest fire in the stomach of hunger and thirst. And there's forest fire in the heart of envy and greed and lamentation. There's forest fire in our speech in the form of harsh speech and criticism. There is forest fire outside in the form of changing weather and temperature. Forest fire in relationships. Forest fire as far as distress is concerned. So there's heat all over the place. And Prabhupada says intelligence or humility means just to understand that we are in a precarious state and to remember Krishna every day. We find His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj also saying a very beautiful thing, which I thought was very wonderful to share. Prayer is a very important activity we have. It is a private talk between the devotee and the Lord. Akrura simply attained perfection by praying. In Skanda Puran, the glories of prayers are mentioned. A devotee whose tongue is decorated always with prayers is greatly respected even by saintly persons, and such devotees are worshipable by demigods. It also helps us to establish our personal relationship with Krishna because we are praying to Him, as that is our communication with the Lord. So here we see that he talks about, Srila Jayapataka Maharaj talks about a private talk between the devotee and the Lord. Prabhupada once, when he came to a certain temple, it was crowded with devotees. Prabhupada came close to the deities, and devotees from different parts of the country had come. And they came so close to Prabhupada. And His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj explains that I was the one next to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was looking at the deities in a royal, regal Bengali style. He had his head hung, looking at the deities, and his lips were moving. So His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj says that I was interested to know what kind of prayers Prabhupada offers. So I stuck my ear close to Prabhupada's lotus lips. And Prabhupada was looking at the deities and saying, Krishna, do they dress you like this every day? And there was some pause. And after a few seconds, again, Srila Prabhupada said, okay, do they feed you well? And again, there was pause. And after some time, Prabhupada said, okay, wonderful. Do they wake you up on time and put you to sleep on time and do the artis on time? And again, he looked at the deities, and there was again a few seconds of silence. Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe what's happening. And later when I came to Prabhupada, and I asked Prabhupada, that Prabhupada, what were you speaking? Prabhupada didn't say anything. He was quiet. But when the temple president came to give his report and told Prabhupada, actually we are offering, so many offerings a day. We are, this is our update. And Prabhupada said, yes, I know. How do you know, Prabhupada? He said, Krishna told me. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, oh, Krishna meaning Krishna in the heart? Prabhupada said, no, Krishna as the deity told me. And then Prabhupada said this very famous statement that the deity has appeared in our lives to talk to us. Now we have to offer prayers in a submissive mood so that we can reciprocate to the talks of the deity. So here, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj says we have to offer prayers, and that's a private one-to-one talk that the devotee has with the Lord. And akrura gain perfection, he says. So there are examples for all the 9 limbs of bhakti. Like for hearing and perfecting the process of bhakti just through the ear, we have the example of Parikshit Maharaj. And then we have the example for Kirtanam as Shukadev Goswami, because he spoke for 7 days. He glorified Krishna and connected with Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj connected by Shravanam, Shukdev Goswami connected to Kirtanam, and then through Vishnu Smaranam, we see Prahlad Maharaj always remembering the Supreme Lord and connecting through Smaranam. And through Pada Sevanam, we have the example of Lakshmi. Lakshmi Devi is always massaging the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and connecting. And then we have Archanam, Prithu Maharaj. Vandanam, Akrura. This is why Srila Jayapataka Maharaj says Akrura gained perfection by praying. Because as Akrura went from Mathura to Vrindavan, he was constantly praying, oh, what great fortune has touched my life. Although I'm going on behalf of Kamsa Maharaj, I'm getting the fortune of entering Braja and seeing the beautiful Lords Krishna and Balaram with my eyes. Oh, what great fortune. And then he's planning in his mind, as soon as I see their lotus feet, I will jump off the chariot and touch them to my heart. So Akrura had so much devotion, and he expressed that through his prayer. So that's Akrura for Vandanam. And for Dasyam, we have Hanuman. For Satyam, we have Arjuna. For Atma Nivedanam, we have Bali Maharaj. And someone who did all 9 is Ambarish Maharaj. So we have very beautiful examples like that. And finally, one last quote, which I really liked. Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj says, the foundational prayer of our movement by Srila Prabhupada is to become puppet in the hands of Krishna. When we take credit for what we do, our strings are cut. You see, Srila Prabhupada on the Jaladuta, he prayed to Krishna, my Lord, I'm a puppet in your hands. You are the puppeteer, I am the puppet. Kashtera puthali jata nachao se mate, nachao nachao prabhu nachao se mate. My Lord, I'm simply a puppet in your hands, and you are the puppeteer. And the strings by which you connect is causeless mercy. And I am ready to dance the way you make me dance. I don't know to dance, my Lord, which means on my own ability, I can't do anything. But if you empower me, then I can. So what is prayer? When we have to think about prayer in a mathematical term, what God can minus what we can is prayer. What God can minus what we can is prayer. What we can on our own is just our ability. When we are very proud of our ability, we don't find a reason to pray. But when we understand, I'm insignificant. And my Lord, now you airlift me. You airlift me. And then wonderful things are done. So this is a very wonderful, distinguishing factor that we can see. Without prayer, our heart is like a barren land. It has no proper flower, no fruits, no grains growing in the form of good qualities. Because we are so proud that I did this, I can do that, I accomplished this, I have so many people under me. By my prowess and influence, all of this is happening. But with prayers, we see our heart becomes like a garden full of rose petals, very fragrant. And most importantly, without the sharp thorns of the lotus. Our heart becomes very fragrant. Without prayer, it's like we driving a car amidst traffic. We have to try maneuvering to the best of our ability. But with prayer, it's like an helicopter airlift. We just drop the car right there, and the helicopter comes and lifts us and takes us hundreds and hundreds of miles in no time. So which means Krishna, when he empowers us, it's like an helicopter airlifting someone. We on our own cannot. But if Krishna wants, he empowers us, and impossible things become possible. Without prayer, we are hungry. And with prayer, that's like the mother's breast milk to the child. That is how much prayer is important. Imagine how important the breast milk is important for the infant, for the baby. That's how important prayer is to a devotee. I was reading the Bible, and it said that prayer is as important to the practitioner as much as breath is important to be alive. That's like the saying. I'm of course paraphrasing, but as important as oxygen, so important is prayer. We see without prayer, we can practice spiritual life, but after some time it becomes monotonous. We become mechanical, lethargic. It's just going through the motions. I wake up, I chant, I sit, I run around a plant at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I do the same motion. I move my hands and legs in the same way. And then we see after a few years, weeds are growing in our heart of fault finding and superiority complex and envy towards those who are doing better than us. Because our life is, we are going through the motions without the emotions. This is very important. When in spiritual life, we go through the motions without the emotions, we get lethargic, we get mechanical, we get monotonous. We think we have achieved a lot. But with prayer, we see we get empowered. Now, just think about Prabhupada's life. It's just impossible. It's impossible. Even for someone like of my age, let's say at 28, it's impossible to go into a foreign land without internet, without manpower, without money, without any facility, materially speaking. Prabhupada was facing so many reversals. Maybe that's another discussion, how many defeats Prabhupada had to face when he came to America. One after another, after another. The doors were just closing. Prabhupada was asking for the money to buy a property, and the money was not released by the Indian government. Nothing was happening. Finally, when Prabhupada was helpless, it's described that when Prabhupada thought, okay, this is not working, I'll do this. I have a plan B for instead of plan A. When B doesn't work, I have C. When C doesn't work, I have D. But Prabhupada ultimately went up to plan K, which is Krishna. He depended on Krishna at every single point. You can't imagine. Prabhupada was sharing his apartment with a person called David. And he thought that, well, he will help Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was even writing letters that, I'm going to initiate David, and he's going to be the first American who's going to speak about Krishna. And guess what? Prabhupada was sharing the room with him. And one night, David gets intoxicated. He's completely under the influence of drugs, and he has a loaded gun. And he looks at Prabhupada and said, Swami, I want to shoot you down. And Prabhupada is helpless. In the middle of the night, he takes his typewriter on one side, he takes his briefcase on the other, and runs in the middle of the street and gets into the apartment of someone who was coming for his programs. And that was Mike. Believe it or not, that Mike became Mukunda Goswami later. So one after another, Prabhupada's facing so many reversals. But what kept Prabhupada going? At the age of 70 and 75, when people can't even walk up the stairs, Prabhupada was teaching everyone to walk up the stairs of material nature to go back home, back to God. Materially speaking, it's impossible for someone from, let's say, traditional Calcutta to go to Boston. His Prabhupada has such a heavy Bengali accent, and it's difficult for Prabhupada to understand the American accent. But forget about all of these things. Forget about all the material inconveniences. Prabhupada had a prayerful heart. He was depending. He had put his hand up. He said, my Lord, on my own, I can't. Now, if you see, we have internet. We have facility for everything. You can sit at home and you can browse. Where is the closest store possible that I can buy fruits and vegetables and flowers? But it's described when Prabhupada came to America, for the first 8 days, he had to fast. He didn't have anything. He didn't know where to procure food from so that he could offer to Krishna. He was just living off milk and water and whatnot. So if you see, for someone beyond the age of 70, he may have stomach problems, he may have arthritis, he may have varicose veins, he may have slip disc, whatnot. But going through all of that, beyond the material conditioning, helping others, and in thousands, influencing everyone to take to the shelter of the holy name, and writing books in the middle of the night, distributing them, having so many temples come up. It's certainly a miracle. This is God's ability. And what differentiates our ability from God's ability is a prayerful heart. So we all must offer prayers. We all must offer prayers. When we don't offer prayers, what happens is we see our stink in the form of our ability. We go up like this, like a shooting star, and when time's up, we come down. Whether we are a sports star, whether we are a celebrity, whether we are an actor or an actress, you see, we all have our up peak, and then we have our downhill. But Prabhupada started his career at 70. You tell me, even from a material perspective, who does that? And who succeeds? Who does it? So when we don't pray, it's our stink in the form of just our ability, our proud, our egoistic ability. But when we pray, it's God's ability that the world smells. It's the aroma, the fragrance that the world experiences. Prabhupada was carrying the fragrance of Krishna's empowerment, and that's what, like a magnet, attracted everyone. You see on the examples from Shastra now, after building up from worldly examples, we see in the aspect of scriptural examples, we see 3 examples in this slide. To the left, you have the example of Narasimhananda Brahmachari in Gaura Leela. For those of us who don't know about this pastime, cut to the chase real quick. Narasimhananda Brahmachari was the personification of prayers. He, through his meditation, would offer services to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, he was such a prayerful, humble, grateful devotee that constantly absorbed in praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that the offerings that he would give Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his mind, Mahaprabhu would accept in person. Like Narasimhananda Brahmachari's typical service was to create pathways, roads for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his meditation. He would decorate the roads with lotus and rose petals. He would decorate the sidewalks with beautiful trees. and fruits and flowers. All of this in the mind. He would pray to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Oh Mahaprabhu, please accept this service of mine. Externally, I may not have the facility and the paraphernalia and the ingredients to offer this excellent service. But in my mind, through a prayerful mind and prayerful heart, I want to offer this to you." And it's interesting to see that Mahaprabhu would accept that through mental meditation. Just prayers, nothing else. Look at him. He didn't have anything around him. He was a brahmachari. All that he had was the power of prayers. He would pray, "Mahaprabhu, please accept it. I don't have anything else. Please accept, my Lord. Please accept." Same to the right, you see the example of the South Indian Brahmana, very famous. In his mind, he would offer sweet rice to the Supreme Lord. In his mind. Externally, he didn't have any paraphernalia, any ingredients to offer sweet rice to the Supreme Lord. But in his mind, with a prayerful heart, he would offer, "My Lord, please accept this. This is all that I have. Please accept and make my life blessed, my Lord. I am very sinful. I know you have many reasons why you shouldn't accept this offering of mine. But just because I belong to you, and I yearn and I long with this desire that may you accept my offering." With this prayerful heart, he would offer. And guess what? In his mind, the sweet rice that he was cooking, in his mind, he put his finger into the pot to see if it was hot or cold. And then, in reality, he saw his finger getting burnt. So the meditation that he had in his mind of putting his finger into the hot pot of sweet rice, in reality, the finger got burnt. And Lakshmi and Narayana in Vaikuntha, they were smiling. That look at the power of his prayer. Look at the power of his samadhi. That in his mind, he was offering the sweet rice, which was hot. And in reality, his finger got burnt. Therefore, Prabhupada says, things which are offered by the devotees, even in meditation, which means through prayers, are accepted by the Lord, and they help one achieve the desired result. So maybe we are not praying enough, dear devotees. We oftentimes say that, "Oh, I've been chanting Hare Krishna for so many years, but Prabhu or Mataji, what's the way out? I'm reading Shastra. I've got my first initiation. I've got my second initiation. I have all the ticks, in life, but where am I lacking? What's that glitch? What's that speed breaker that I'm not able to, what's that barricade that I'm not able to cross over?" Dear devotees, that's the answer. We are not praying enough. We are not connecting to Krishna enough. Just like we look around for sympathy, we look around for comfort, we look around for solution, we look around for solace. Why not just go to Krishna and speak our heart out? Let's just go to Krishna for every single thing in life. You're not finding your spectacles, just walk out to Krishna. You're not finding your glasses you kept it here. Go to Krishna and say, "Krishna, what is this? I know you're a thief. I know you like to steal butter from the neighbor's house. I know you like to steal the heart of Radharani. I know you like to steal the complexion of the rain cloud. But why would you steal my glasses? Why would you do that?" Of course, someone would think this person's gone crazy. He's going to Krishna for lost glasses. But here's the thing, dear devotees. What happened to Gajendra was ordinary. So many times on television, you can see examples of elephants getting caught by crocodiles. So many times. But not all of those cases are recorded by Shukadev Goswami in the pages of the Bhagavatam. Why? What happened to Gajendra was ordinary. But his response to that ordinary situation made it extraordinary. I repeat that again, dear devotees. What happened to Gajendra was ordinary. What happened to the king of elephants was just ordinary. He just went into a water pond and a crocodile accidentally, caught his feet and wouldn't let go. So that's ordinary. You see so many animals attack each other into the forest. But what made Gajendra stand out in the pages of the Bhagavatam is his response to that situation. Think about Draupadi. It's a sad state in this world today that in different parts of the world, there are so many women who get unfortunately attacked. So what you see there was from a worldview, something that was happening every day. But why all the cases are not recorded? Only Draupadi is recorded. Because what happened to her, of course, unfortunate, but from that perspective, was something that was happening with other places in other places as well. But her response to that ordinary situation was extraordinary. Gajendra, what happened to him was normal. But the way he responded to that made it super normal. It made it extraordinary. So dear devotees, what happens to us may be very petty. We may have just lost our glasses, for example. But you can make that ordinary situation special by just connecting to Krishna, but just going to Krishna and saying, Krishna, I want this. Krishna, just connecting as a friend, talking to Krishna. This is all. This is prayer. We don't have to learn Sanskrit. And of course, it's not that scholastic approach or scholarship is not discouraged, but we may come from different cultural background. You can just offer prayer to Krishna in your own mother tongue. Krishna knows all languages. Someone who speaks Russian can offer prayers in Russian. If you and I can speak Russian, Krishna definitely can speak Russian. So you can offer prayers to Krishna in German. Just offer prayers to Krishna in English. Speak your heart out. Sometimes devotees ask me, can we offer prayers from the Bhagavatam? Definitely we can. But apart from that, we need to add something of our own too. In the sense that the Sanskrit prayers are wonderful, but connect them to real life. Like give Krishna a context that Krishna, this is what I'm going through. Please, Krishna, help me. And then you can offer the prayers of the acharyas. The third point on the slide, you can see the example of Narada Muni. Narada Muni in his previous life as the son of a maidservant, he had the darshan of Krishna, but then that darshan disappeared. That presence of Krishna's form disappeared. And Narada Muni was crying and weeping. But what happened? Krishna just wanted to intensify the heat in the pot of his heart by regulating and increasing the spirit of his prayerful mood. Because it shouldn't happen that he slackens out, that I've already seen Krishna. So Krishna wanted to intensify his prayer. And when his prayer got intensified, he became Narada Muni. Dear devotees, 4 take-home points that we can think about. This is something that we can write. When we think about, I don't know what to pray to Krishna, you can write these 4 slides down. It's very, very interesting. First thing, look behind and thank Krishna. Best example is Kunti Devi. She looked behind in life and thanked Krishna. Krishna, you see the prayers of Kunti. She connects to Krishna with her past. She tells Krishna, oh, Krishna, my children were poisoned, but you protected them. The house was set on fire, but you protected them. The 5 children were murdered, but you protected them. The daughter-in-law was disrobed in mid-assembly, but you protected her. They were sent into the forest, but you protected them. Krishna, now that you're leaving, who is there for us? Always connecting with Krishna with what has happened in the past. In fact, Draupadi went one step ahead to say that you have showered mercy on me, that you didn't even shower on your own mother, Devaki. When you appeared to Devaki in the prison house of Mathura, you protected your mother, but you did not protect the children of your mother. The 6 children of Devaki were killed by Kamsa. You protected your mother, but you did not protect the children of your mother. But look at my life. You protected me and my children. Krishna, thank you. So we may not have that kind of connection where our house is set on fire or children are poisoned, etc. But we can just look back at life and sit down and contemplate. Just take a notebook and a pencil. Just take a writing pad. Just sit there. So many times we get so overwhelmed with going from one program to another, from one kirtan to another, from one class to another, especially with COVID. We have so many Zoom classes going on. It's like a spring water. It's like fountain, like, one after another, somebody or the other is speaking. So sometimes it's possible we may have a desire to go and attend and hop through one meeting after another. But I would say sometimes just take your time. Just sit there for half an hour. Don't do anything. Sit on the table with your writing pad and a pencil and write down things in life, in the past that have happened, that you think Krishna actually intervened. A grateful heart is someone who can see Krishna's hand. Now, is that all in all? No. Look ahead and trust Krishna like Prahlad. Look behind and thank Krishna, but look ahead and trust Krishna. Second kind of prayer is something where we call out to Krishna because we don't know what's coming up in the future. One, you connect with Krishna, connect your past to Krishna. Second, you connect your future to Krishna. Look at Prahlad Maharaj. All the time, he was poisoned. He was attacked with deadly weapons. He was thrown from the top of a cliff. He was put into a pit of poisonous snakes. He was sent at the feet of the stampede of mad elephants. He was given every possible torturous situation, even tossed into fire. But he trusted Krishna. Why? You see there, dear devotees, he has his hands. He has his joined palms in the spirit of Vandanam. If we have that spirit, then Krishna will break the pillar in a half man, half lion incarnation, which means an impossibility to come and save us. Krishna did not come as Narasimhadev to destroy Hiranyakashipu. One heart attack could have done that. But he came just to protect Prahlad, because Prahlad was praying. So we look back and thank Krishna. We look ahead and trust Krishna. In the corporate environment, we're asked, where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? The answer is, I don't know really. From a spiritual perspective, I don't know if I'll be alive. But Krishna, my prayer is, may I be spiritual. Days are passing, years are coming and passing by real quick. Time's flying, one birthday after another. My Lord, let me make the best use of this human form. I have heard so much, I have read so much, but now I just need to practice. I just need to connect with you. Krishna, you don't want anything else from me except my heart. Think about it. What does Krishna want from us? He just wants our heart. He doesn't even want our money. He is Lakshmipati. He's the Lord of the Goddess of Fortune. What we do is we try to impress him with our donations, of course. That's not wrong, but Krishna's not just looking for our money. We give money to Krishna and we give our heart to this world. But we should be ready to give our heart to Krishna and money to this world. So we look ahead and trust Krishna. Third, we look within and find Krishna. And the example of that is Dhruva. Dhruva practiced and prayed to the Supreme Lord. Another example of folded palms. It just took him 6 months. Dear devotees, sometimes devotees ask this question, can we go to Krishna with a material prayer? My answer is, why not? When we say you can go to godmen, you can believe in, astrology, you can go to demigods, you've put all of these books out of your window. Now, the only one we have on our altar is Krishna. And the father likes to know every single thing in the life of the son. The son would just say, Dad, I just lost this pencil. Can you just help me? Now, the father would be like a managing director for a big multinational company. But just because the son goes to him and says, Dad, I can't find this pencil, the father goes down on his knees and says, okay, I'll help you. You see, Krishna likes when we connect with him. Dear devotees, let us not think that Krishna just wants to hear the spiritual things from us. Well, that's, of course, first class. That's first class. We're not saying that. There's no debate on that. That's definitely first class. But you can't just go there. You can't just jump there. Being on the road, you can't just fly. You have to go to the airport first and then take your flight. So first you have to come to the airport, which means connect to Krishna from wherever we are. You're finding a problem with your job, connect to Krishna. You're having a problem in your marriage, connect to Krishna. You think you have trouble raising your kids, connect to Krishna. You have some problem with your health, connect to Krishna. Just speak to Krishna. Why is it that I'm calling out your names, but my mind is not attentive? Krishna, I feel relieved after I finish the 16 rounds, which means I just want to get done with it. Just speak to him. This is a prayer. Speak, connect your situation, connect your feelings with Krishna. This is what Dhruva did. He just went and spoke to Krishna as a 5-year-old child. I want a house bigger than my house, bigger my father's house, bigger than my grandfather and great-grandfather's house. And then what happened? Before he got the house, he got Krishna, just because he was intense. So as we connect to Krishna, even with a material prayer, the process of praying becomes so intense that it cleanses all the material coverings. Then when Krishna actually appears, we say, Krishna, I found you. I don't want anything else. I don't want anything else. But when we jump to that platform, we fall back because we're not there. So let us connect from the point where we are. Anything. It could be anything. Just go and talk to Krishna. Just build a situation. Just take advantage of the situation. Whether it's happiness, go and tell Krishna, thank you. Thank you. I never expected this. Just share your emotions. We are sentient beings, dear devotees. And if something is just a reversal, go and cry in front of Krishna. We need a shoulder to cry on. We need people around to sympathize with us. Just go to Krishna. Just go to Krishna and cry. How do I face this? That's a prayer. Your heart is completely in line, in attachment to Krishna, and your words are expressing that. So